Bill Clinton. Did you talk to
He did.
him?
He called the next day.
Really? What did he say?
Actually called last night.
What did he
And
say?
he couldn't have been more gracious. He said it was an amazing run, one of the most amazing he's ever seen.
Said that.
He was very, very, really very nice.
You know, you said that you might call President Obama for advice. Would you think of calling President Clinton for advice?
Well, he's a very talented guy, both of them. I mean, this is a very talented family. Certainly, I would certainly think about that.
Well, that was one of the many developments today in President-elect Trump's emerging administration, including his transition team. For all of that, let's go to our Jim Acosta in Washington. First of all, this Obamacare news, a bit of a shift for a candidate who spent a lot of time saying just repeal and replace Obamacare. What do we know about this idea of amending instead of repealing and replacing?
Right. Anderson, it's impossible to count the number of times that Donald Trump promised to repeal Obamacare, to get rid of Obamacare, because he said it so many times out on the campaign trail. So this is a pretty interesting shift. We're going to have to find out just how far he's willing to go. It sounds like, Anderson, what he wants to do is allow people with pre-existing conditions to keep their health insurance and not be discriminated against by the insurance companies. But the problem with that, Anderson, is that if they do away with the insurance mandate, which requires people to buy health insurance, then you take away the funding mechanism that pays for all of those people to have health insurance with pre-existing conditions. And so as they get into the nitty-gritty of governing, they're going to find out this is going to be difficult. And by the way, Anderson, you know, if Donald Trump is going to start backing away from repealing Obamacare, he's going to have a lot of trouble with people on the right here in Washington. He's been talking about draining the swamp. He may find himself in the swamp with.
Don't forget to hit that subscribe button.
Off that campaign promise. It is one of the key promises from his presidential
Subscribe.
campaign.
The first decisions he's got to make are staffing. What are your sources telling you about the transition team? Chris Christie's no longer running it. We know that.
Right. He's no longer running it. It's now the Vice President-elect Mike Pence, who is the chair of the transition team. Chris Christie's not out. He is now a vice chair, but he's sharing that role with Rudy Giuliani, Newt Gingrich, Ben Carson, Mike Flynn, the retired lieutenant general, and so on. So his role has been diminished. As a matter of fact, the executive director of the transition team was also Christie Aide. That person is out. The new person who's now the executive director of the transition team.